The following is a presentation of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. Welcome, episode number 5. It's great to be back with you guys once again. Like I said, I'm the host, Andrew Rogers. I am also so I'm the head of the social media and public relations for the Western Ontario Super Hockey League and your podcast host. So it's great to be back with you guys once again. Thank you very much for tuning in. As I like to do off the hop of every episode is thank you, the viewers, for watching each and every episode. Our first episode with Jamie Petrie, our debut episode, is very, very, very close to 1,000 views. It's unbelievable, guys, honestly. Each subsequent podcast has generated over 200 views. Last week's episode with Killer Bees, president, head coach, and general manager Sean Dickey is up near 200 as well. So, guys, honestly, thank you so much. And I know the YouTube channel is over 61 subscribers. So, just guys, it's an overwhelming amount of support and appreciation for what we're doing here. And, you know, it honestly means a lot to me. And I can't really do this whole podcast without appreciating the fact that you guys are watching and paying attention and tuning in. So thank you very much for that. Obviously, guys, very, very happy about that. Lots going on. It's great to be back with you guys once again. Like I said, we got a great episode coming up today. We got on the docket here. Our guest today on this episode of the podcast is the general manager of the Tillsonburg Thunder, Bill Ryan. He did obviously with Tillsonburg Thunder. They along with the Allura Rocks amalgamated over from the WOAA into the Western Ontario Super Hockey League this year. So we're very excited to speak with Bill, get his take on what's going on with the Thunder and what he can expect from this league in the upcoming season. A lot going on in the league in general. Again, if you want to follow along with our league, you can find us on social media. Here are the social media links. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I know you can also find each of the teams individually on social media as well. And make sure to follow along with all of them for the latest updates. Lots of good things going on. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, so you can get all the latest updates on the podcast. Get firsthand knowledge of when they're updated, so you can get on them right away to have a look at them. But around the league, guys, lots of information coming out in terms of player commitments. I know Strathroy Jets have announced quite a few. Stratford Irish are pretty much a backup goalie away from fielding a full roster already. So it's pretty impressive what's going on there. I know one of their latest additions, Lucan Van Pelt, used to play for the Mitchell Hawks. Unbelievable defenseman, captain of the Mitchell Hawks, and he's going to provide a big stabilizer on that defensive core for the Irish. They're going to be unbelievable. Just watch. I know the Allura Rocks also announced a few players, one of them being Clayton Holger. I watched him play with WOA with the Allura Rocks in 2019, 2020, and this dude is just unbelievable. What a talent. That signing alone, regardless of who else they bring in, makes them very, very good. He is a very impressive player, and he will be huge to that organization in this upcoming season when and if it does get started on time. The hope is October, but obviously with this pandemic, you never really know. But yes, we're expecting obviously Tillsonburg to announce some commitments. We'll talk to Bill about that, and the other teams as well. This is a really exciting progressive thinking league, and it's just great for me to be a part of it. Very excited for the direction it's headed, and I know that they're also doing some really good things in terms of merchandise right now. Starting lineup, uniform and apparel, which is run by Mitch Scott of the Allura Rocks, is his business, his bread and butter, and he's doing a lot of great things. He's doing uniforms for Allura Rocks, Alvinston Killer Bees as well, and for the Stratford Fighting Irish, which is going to be awesome. He's also running the merchandise sales for the entire league in terms of sweaters, hats, golf shirts, all that sort of stuff. All the merch is going to be available eventually for all the teams and for the entire league. So it's going to be very exciting, guys. we just want you to be able to put the garb on and show your support for our league and be able to be recognizable in your various communities. So, big things are coming. It's a very, very exciting time for sure. But like I say, without further ado, we're going to introduce our guest for this week's episode of the podcast. He's the general manager of the Tillsonburg Thunder, great friend of the show and great friend of mine, Bill Ryan. All right, we're pleased to be joined here on the podcast by a legend in the hockey business. At least, in my opinion, he's a stand-up guy. He's a really good representative of the game and what we're doing. He's a great part of our league now in the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. He is the he's the general manager and of the Tillsonburg Thunder, Bill Ryan. Bill joins us now. Thanks for doing this, Bill. It's great to see you. Welcome.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to getting on here.
Just so you know, I'm not Jamie. Andrew's good.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Jamie?
It's okay, pal. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
I was just talking to him.
No, it's good, man. It's fine. Bill, it's great.
Where did legend come from? I have to ask.
Well, hey, man. No, I speak highly of you, man. I think highly of you. You're good. You're a good guy, and you're a good representative of what we're doing here. So, like I said, it's a pleasure to speak with you. First thing before we get into the hockey scene, Bill, is obviously COVID pandemic. It's still going 400 plus days of this whole thing. And, hopefully everyone wants to see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's maybe becoming clearer for some, harder to see for others. How are things going for you on a personal note? Are you doing okay? And can you give us an update?
Health-wise, everybody's been fine. Fortunately, knock on wood here, none of my family's really been exposed to the COVID virus. I almost expect to get it with what I do for a living, being out in the world 24/7. I work in the life safety industry, fire, sprinklers, security industry. So I'm out at, multi-residential buildings, nursing homes, everything all the time. And fortunately, all of my tests have stayed negative. So
good.
Everything's good. Family's good. On business wise, I've never been busier. This pandemic in our industry has only made us busier because there's so many things that we do that are involved in keeping people safe, secure, healthy. Right. So,
yeah.
I'm probably fortunate compared to a lot, whereas I'm working more than I probably should be, but I could be doing the opposite, sitting at home and, waiting for somebody to give me a CERB check or something, which I really wouldn't like doing. So
no,
I can't complain. I've been blessed.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, obviously, yes, like you said, there are a lot of people out there that are really struggling. And, I myself on a personal note haven't stopped working, which is something that I've been, again, very blessed to do. No question. Yeah. So, obviously, yeah, like if you're escaping any sort of health concerns with this whole pandemic, be grateful. There are plenty of people that aren't. So, again, I'm glad to hear that everything's going well with you, Bill. So you come over with the Tillsonburg Thunder organization to join this Western Ontario Super Hockey League in their inaugural season. You're one of 6 teams that were announced. And, I guess how did this all kind of come about to you? Like, can you take us back to, the origin, I guess, of when it was decided?
Yeah, it was certainly wasn't an easy decision. For 75 years, the WOA has been doing a lot of things very well.
Right.
Did we always agree with what they were doing? Not necessarily, and they probably didn't agree with a lot of what we would do over the years. But I've got a lot of respect for that organization, that league, and what they've done. Really, how it all kind of evolved was a conversation with Jamie Petrie there around the time that he was applying to join the WOA. It turned out his center wasn't a fit for the WOA based on size and all that kind of thing. Right. And the discussion kind of came about and made us realize that there's a market for teams in towns or areas that aren't serviced by the WOA. Right. That 401, 402, 400 highway corridor, where you've got the 10,000 plus towns and even the small towns, the small centers that don't want to have as much travel. Right. So really a few things happened. One is we knew of other markets over the years that have been interested. Jamie spoke to those markets because we told Jamie, listen, we're fine with staying in the WA if this doesn't work. If this is something you may work, we're certainly be interested in. But what really kind of drove us off the fence was his drive and his passion for making this happen. We opened the door a crack and he kicked the door wide open. And next thing you know, he's got 6 markets. He's talking to 6 more. And there's 2 more confirmed that may start this year, may not start till next year because of COVID restrictions and ice time restrictions. So a lot of what he's doing really just kind of attracted us to this. more than anything, it's the modernization that he's looking at doing, I guess you would call it, of this new brand or this new Super Hockey League, as he wants to call it.
Right.
I guess, does that answer your question, I guess? So
yeah, no, it's a perfect answer. Actually, it was exactly what I was looking for. Now, I guess, like, what impresses you the most about the idea of this league? Is there any one particular area where you look at it and say, man, that's a huge draw. That could be a game changer?
I think a couple of things. The biggest thing for me as an operator of a team, one, the operating costs are down, so it gives us the ability to put a little more money into the team.
Right.
And, a little more into marketing, a little more into, the product on the ice, the players, everything, right?
Of course.
Whether it's, more signage or, more ads in the newspaper, money you would be spending, say, on league fees or insurances somewhere else.
Right.
You can use to operate your team. So that was one. Obviously, financial is a big part of it. But what I really like is the progressive thinking and the aggressive marketing attitude that they have.
Okay.
That the WSHL and the first 6 teams have. I've called them all the first 6. I'm kind of taking the play off the original 6.
The original 6, yeah. That's just pretty funny. I hadn't thought of that before. That's good.
Yeah, so I'm calling them all the first 6. But those first 6 teams, they all have this philosophy on how they want to be different, market different, be a little more aggressive, a little more creative, use social media the way it needs to be used.
Right.
The WA uses social media, and they do things their way and it works for them. Right. It's just we're in a little bit of a different society now where most people, that's the first place they look for things.
Well, and touch on this for a minute, if you could, because this was one of my biggest things that kind of was a hitch to me, and not to knock WA, because I don't want to do that. But the thing is that, in today's age, it's one thing to have the loyal fans that have been there forever and it's all they know. But it's another to get new fans and draw new people to the experience that have no idea what's going on and that are going to be your driving force. They got to come to the games. They got to see that there's games happening. All they do is walk around with a phone in their hand now. So we got to make sure that we're on that phone somewhere, some way, somehow, and we're drawing them to our games and our action and our events where they're going to be able to spend money on our product.
At the end of the day, there's so many distractions for people nowadays.
Absolutely.
Whether it's electronic devices and social media or whatever else there is, there's so many sports, so many sporting events, so many people trying to get their entertainment dollar. Right. And let's be honest, that's what we're trying to do here. Even though it's a community team doing something for community, it's far from a profit-making venture, but it's designed to do something good for your community. And there's nothing better than having 200 people from your community on a Saturday night standing at the rink watching a couple of very good competitive teams play hockey with each other than being at home on the TV or the internet.
Right.
And the biggest thing now is the only way you get people out is to get their attention.
No question.
And you're not going to get their attention in the traditional, stick a sign on the door, put an ad in the local newspaper that nobody's reading. It's more.
Yeah, you got to go further than that.
Or you got to get that word of mouth out there, and there's no better way than online, right? Social media, marketing, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Like I say, that's where everybody is. And I'm obviously really hopeful and semi-biased to this podcast in the hopes that, we can use it as a great marketing tool to promote our game, whether it be by having people behind the scenes that need to be recognized or the players at the forefront. Because I think we can both agree that given the right circumstances, you bring the right people in, the players especially, you can really promote this game and showcase some unbelievable talent that is resonated in Ontario in this market. I think that's going to shine through in bundles.
This level of hockey is an unpolished gem.
Absolutely.
When you look at the hockey in the WA, the level of hockey in the WA in the 12 years I was involved has only gotten better every year.
Right.
The problem is not enough people are experiencing that level of hockey.
Well, and it's a shame.
Not necessarily from what any league is doing, but because it's just not looked at the same way as, say, junior hockey or professional hockey here. So you got to start acting like a professional type of league or a junior league, which acts professional or is run on a professional basis, and make those things happen. And I think that's part of what drew us to what was happening here in the WSHL was the fact that, we're going to modernize things a little bit. For the Tillsonburg Thunder specifically, it's cut our travel costs and our expenses down dramatically looking at where these new teams are.
Is that right?
Like our travel has been reduced greatly. And obviously that might change as the league grows.
Sure, of course.
But, we're more of I guess you would call it almost an a highway corridor league now, as opposed to a spread around South Central Ontario, right? So
Of course. Now, can we see a lot of familiarity? Do you expect a lot of familiar faces when it comes to this new look Tillsonburg Thunder of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League?
I think the Tillsonburg Thunder, you're going to see probably 60 or 70% of our roster return.
Okay.
Most guys are genuinely excited about it because they like the idea that they're going to be getting some of their hours back that they lost going to the rink over
Yeah, no doubt.
years, and make wives and girlfriends and families happy, right? So
absolutely, gotta.
but from every guy I've talked to, they really like what they're hearing. Obviously the player pool is going to be a little more competitive now with two leagues looking for the same style of players.
Yeah,
technically three if you count the AAA league, right? So
yeah.
But there's so many good quality hockey players out there, especially young ones, coming out of a junior or coming back from school somewhere.
Right.
Those guys are really the guys that are going to grow these leagues. We're kind of a hybrid, I guess, between, I don't want to say intermediate, but we're a hybrid between guys coming out of junior and then the 10-year pro coming home, right?
Right,
so
of course.
Pros, will there be pros in our league? Sure, but the focus won't be on the professional hockey player.
I understand that.
There will be something on each roster, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it's going to be more about those overage junior B, junior C, tier 2 guys, CIS guys, that kind of stuff.
Right. And I know Jamie's vision obviously also includes this idea of showcasing local talent, right? Like that's going to be a big draw too, is making sure that not only if a team look at Elora, who announced their first commitment, Clayton Holscher from Elora. He's an Elora native. He's a huge addition because he played for Elora last year in the last season for the Elora Rocks AA. And he's an unbelievable hockey player. He's got a great hockey history and he's going to be an impact player for them. But again, it follows suit with even the other teams. Strathroy Jets, same thing. Put a lot of guys who've played for Strathroy Rockets. You have the Stratford Irish who are going the whole Warrior Cullinan route, which is it's going to be a phenomenal draw for those in attendance to be able to see players that they once used to watch while they were growing into the player that they are today.
And a lot of people wonder where they went. This way, at least they'll see what they're doing now, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah. And let's be completely honest, a lot of those guys at 21 years old are nowhere near as good a hockey player as they are at 24 years old.
No, I mean, there's a lot of growth there, no question.
They're in better shape. They've learned the game better.
Now, do you think that's what's going to be really interesting about this league is watching guys that are just coming out of, say, junior hockey that are really going to go from one competitive league to another, and how they adapt to that? I think that'll be a fascinating transition.
I think you're right. Some guys will jump right in and it's like they never missed a beat, and other guys will realize that, wait a minute, I might have been the best player on my junior C or junior B team, but in this league, I've got to earn my way to being the best player, right? So
of course.
It's a continuation of development as a person, as a player, as an athlete, whatever, it's a life skill, right? As much as it is a sport.
Of course. Now, I guess, where is the Tillsonburg Thunder at this point in the preparation for season start in October? Is there things that we need to know in terms of what's upcoming for you guys? Is there things that you have on the docket?
Sure. We're doing right now. It's tough to do fundraisers, as everybody knows.
Everything's shut down, of course.
We are doing a couple of Rib Fest. We've been doing Rib Fest in Tillsonburg now for 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Last year we did Rib Fest COVID style.
Yeah, drive through pickup. Yeah,
basically drive up, pick up your food, and leave.
Right.
So this year we're doing 2 of them.
Okay, great.
We're actually doing one in Woodstock.
Okay.
So there was a Rib Fest going on in Woodstock, and the guys that were running it decided they weren't going to run any more COVID and everything else.
Sure.
So the Rivers presented an opportunity with us to do it COVID style in Woodstock as well. So
fantastic.
It's a nice little fundraiser. They pay us a fee for manning it. They pay us a share of the proceeds.
Good.
So we're going to be doing that in Woodstock and Tillsonburg. You'll have to have Mike Hawley on for the dates, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not all that involved in those fundraisers.
No big deal.
Not as involved as they probably should be, but again, you only have so much time.
Of course.
We're looking at doing a couple of online things, some auctions and some fundraising stuff online. But for the most part, we really won't do a lot other than the Rib Fests and maybe a golf tournament or something later in the summer if this pandemic and the freedom to play golf and everything else comes back to us.
Right. And then, that's an interesting segue here. What is your opinion on what happened at Bridges for the Tillsonburg golf course that openly defied the whole pandemic rules?
Do
Like,
you
what's
want
your
my
opinion on
opinion
it?
or do you want my politically correct answer?
No, I mean, just no. Like, I mean, obviously,
My opinion is
people
the
have
guys,
different opinions on
guys
it,
that
right?
own and run the guys that own and run the bridges can run the business any way they want.
Sure.
Do I think what they did is right? I think it is. Um,
Tough.
however,
It's tough, man.
however, when you're the only one in the province that's defying those rules, you're going to have 50% of the people tell you, "Oh, you're breaking the law," which, by the way, it's not law; it's an order.
Right.
And then you're going to have 50% of the people say, "Good for you, keep it going." But
Right.
none
Of
of those
course.
people on either side have to deal with the consequences. So at the end of the day, those
Oh man.
guys that own and operate the bridges will have to, will have to deal the cards that come to them, right?
Man, oh man.
My
Like
son was
they're
a
they're
golfer
just
that went there a few times and never got fined. So
well, and like, yeah, all the reports that you read are like mixed, obviously, in terms of what's going to actually happen. Like, I know some have said that there were charges laid. Some said that like 5 of the golfers were fined because they defied the whole, you know, social
yeah,
distancing or whatever. They breached the whole policy. It's just so wacky,
the
man. Like, come
newspaper
on.
said 19 fines and the course itself was fine.
Oh, and then, like, it's just ridiculous, the whole situation. Like, why
I'll be
we
curious
can't
to
play
see how it all
golf.
holds
But
up. I'll be curious to see how it all holds up in court.
yeah,
I'm a social golfer at best. I might golf 3 or 4 times a year. So like whether I can golf or not is not going to change my life.
well, no, but though I think what really is the intriguing part about golf in general with this is like people are struggling with mental health. I think that's a big part of this whole pandemic. And like they're not getting outside because they can't go anywhere. They've been ordered to stay at home. The hardest thing is when you ask a person, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you can't see anybody. Like, how are you expected to be able to carry on? Like, are you basically supposed to get your buddies on a Zoom call just to say hello, or what? Like, you need to be social, you need to be doing stuff outside when it's really nice. And like, especially people with kids, like, man, you got to be able to take your kids places. Like, come on.
Fresh air and sunshine are so important as an
Oh,
individual.
huge.
I made the decision last year when all this started. My grandkids live with my son. My son lives with us. He's a separated individual. So my grandkids live with us 50% of every week.
Right.
So last year I said, okay, we've got to do something to make the yard good for them. So we put in a pool and, we've got a jungle gym and swing set and stuff like that. And we've got a pretty good sized backyard. So without that, I think my grandkids would be going absolutely nuts. Like,
Oh,
I don't know how anybody living in an apartment with a couple of kids or a small home with no yard is managing through this. Like I only feel bad for the people and what it's doing to their psyches.
well, trust me, man, it's not easy. Like, especially, yeah, like, when you have like such a nice day outside, you can't even take advantage of it. Like when they first said, like, oh, yeah, you can't go to a playground, it's like, oh, you crazy? Like, everyone's going to go to a playground regardless of whether you tell them not to or not. Like, there's no way you can't keep kids inside all the time. Like, it's
Well,
just,
and
it kills them.
I feel for the teenagers as well. Like they can't do anything.
No,
And that is such a tough age group that, your hormones are running every which direction. And, you're trying to just come from a child to an adult. And here you are stuck in your room. And I know in Tillsonburg, for example, the skateboard park is completely taped off. They can't use it.
yeah, that's horrible.
How is that any different than a jungle gym? But, we can argue the semantics of the law. There's people making the decisions that are a lot smarter than I am.
No, you're right.
Do I agree with what they're doing? Not completely, but I
know.
also don't want to be that guy laying in bed on a respirator. So,
No, you're absolutely right about that. That's the thing is like I feel like that's where people are. They either decide that they're for it or they decide that they're against it. And there's some people even that are just right in the middle because they don't know which way to go. But again, you don't really know until you've experienced it. And that's the reality of it. But
I feel bad for those that are sick, but I am against the lockdowns. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, totally. Anyways, back to the hockey side of it. I mean, the last actual question about the pandemic. Are you worried that maybe the season won't start on time? Like, is that a worry that you have in terms of this league?
Absolutely. I'm actually quite worried that we won't start till November, December, January, the way things are trending. But we have to, as a league, and I think all leagues probably are doing this, you have to act as though your league is going to start and it's going to operate.
Of course.
From day one. If it doesn't, then we have a contingency plan in place, and we'll start later in the season, or worst case scenario, knock on wood, God forbid, we start in the next season.
Right.
But from what I'm seeing around the world, if I was a betting man, I would say the odds are there that we will start our season before 2021 ends.
I get you. Yeah,
I think
I'm
the
definitely
vaccine is
hopeful.
getting out, at a much slower pace than we would had anticipated, but they're getting out there, and the people that want them are taking them. So
No doubt. Yeah, like I'm
hopefully
hopeful as
that's
well.
the
I'm
case.
hopeful as well. But I think we can both agree that at the end of the day, general health and safety is the main concern. So unless
Absolutely.
everybody's being healthy, unless every precaution is being taken, then it's not a good decision at the end of the day. I think we can both
That's right.
agree
And
on
us
that.
as a league, we won't do anything that will jeopardize our paying public, our fans, our friends, our family, anybody. We're going to do what's right based on the facts of the day.
So last question I'll give to you here before I let you go. In general, with this league, what is your expectation when you look at it on the grand scheme of things? Like, what is your hope that you get out of this league in year one, whenever it does start?
Well, year one, I think year one's going to be a development year for this league. Obviously you're going to have your 6 or 8 teams, depending on what it gets to. With these COVID rules are making it very difficult to nail down the last few teams because the arena's not giving them their ice, or guaranteeing them their ice, I guess is probably a better statement.
Right.
So right now we're going to develop obviously our rule book. We're going to develop our officials. We're going to develop our on ice product, our during the game product. And I think it's going to just grow from there, because the amount of inquiries we're getting it's very surprising. You put it out there, the old build it, they will come kind of thing is happening, right? So, but you have to be careful as a league that you don't grow too fast.
Right.
And don't go to markets that can't support it, right? Because you don't want to put 10 teams in for the sake of putting 10 teams in, and all of a sudden 4 teams disappear the next year. Then you start looking like some of these leagues that have popped up over the years at other levels of hockey, and the teams change every year.
No, you don't want that.
We want 6, 8 solid franchises, and if that's all we have for the next 5 years, that's great. If we can get to the dozen, like our sister league out east has all of a sudden blossomed from 4 to 12.
Unbelievable.
As long as you can do that successfully, I'm all for that too.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm a big hockey fan. I watch hockey at all levels, and I can watch it every day of the week. And the more options I have for watching hockey and being involved, the better I feel.
This is going to be a lot of fun, Bill, and you're a great guy to be a part of it. We've been talking with Bill Ryan, the general manager of the Tillsonburg Thunder. It's been an absolute pleasure, buddy. It's been great talking to you. We'll have you on again. Thanks a lot for doing this.
Thanks very much for having me, and be well to everybody.
This Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast is brought to you by Joe's Diner. Come and enjoy Joe's all-day breakfast, located at 155 Erie Street in Stratford. Call 519-272-9933. And by Locker Room Lager. Dump and chill and enjoy these suds with your squad. Visit postgamebrewingco.com for details.
So, yeah, once again, I'd like to thank our guests for coming on the podcast. Bill Ryan, the general manager of the Tillsonburg Thunder. It was great to talk to him as always, and we look forward to having him back on again. I want to thank the podcast sponsors, Joe's Diner out of Stratford, Ontario, and Locker Room Lager, from Post Game Brewing Company. They're just unbelievable in terms of supporting this podcast and all that comes along with it. I want to thank our league president, Jamie Petrie, because without him, none of this is possible. So, and he deserves so much credit for all the hard work he's doing, but he has a phenomenal team of people as well that give him all the help and support. And it's just it's an unbelievable time right now for this league, and there's a lot of momentum. So we look forward to keep pumping out these podcasts for you. Now, also, guys, with this, there's a lot of good things happening with this podcast in terms of who we're bringing in. There's been a lot of more management types of late on this podcast, Mitch and Rich and Sean Dickey, obviously, but we're going to eventually be getting more players rolled out so we can bring them to the forefront of this league, because they are really going to be the driving force that steers this league into the future. And we're very excited to be able to showcase these young men and, showcase their talents. So we're very excited about that. But again, once again, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. I am your host, Andrew Rogers, and this is a wrap for episode number 5. Till next time, stay safe out there, everybody. Follow protocol. Follow COVID protocol. Don't break it. Don't be a hero. Just do your best and just follow the rules and be respectful of others. And we'll keep positive thoughts, because we're going to get through this, and it's gonna be okay. anyways, that's enough of that. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. And thanks again for watching.